We are here with Rob Thomson, Phillies manager, who has taken time out of his busy day to talk to us. Britt Giroli, Eric Kratz, Todd Frazier. Rob, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me. Hi, guys. How you doing?
What's
Two
up?
former
Doing
players
great.
of mine.
Oh, geez, you got all the stories? Can you tell us all the quick? We only
No,
have
I
a certain
can't
amount of
tell you.
time, Rob. You
No, I
got.
can't tell you.
Hopper, is KG holding the camera for you? I've never seen this. You're in that age demographic where when you call into the show, we're seeing up your nostril. KG holding the camera for you?
No,
You're
I
so
got
hip.
this newfangled computer, and there's a camera on top of the computer.
Topper, I'm so proud of you. Not just
I've
because
commended the technology world.
not just because you're hip, but because you figured out a way to change what was going on. All these managers this year are getting fired. All these managers are getting fired. You were there when Joe got fired, and you stepped right in. We talk about it all the time on the show. Did you change the message that was being sent, or did you just say, I'll just move one slot to the left, and now I'm the manager in the dugout?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened. I do know this, that, it was the 1st of June when I took over, and the month of May was probably the toughest month as far as our opponents were concerned. And then the month of June was probably the easiest month of, as far as competition was concerned. We just got on a roll. And I think, anytime you have a managerial change or a head coaching change, I think you'll see a spike in wins and performance for a little bit, and then usually the team falls back to where they were. Well, we had a pretty easy schedule, and we just got on a roll, and everybody got confident, and we just rolled through the year.
Can you talk a little bit about baseball? You were an assistant coach for a while. Now you're a manager. The ebbs and flows of the game, which I think people don't understand. You come out the gates, you're not where people and fans are like, oh, the Phillies, what are we doing here? They're blaming everybody else. But can you talk a little about, ebbs and flows and how, some players come out hot, because you guys are doing it right now, but a little bit ago it was a struggle.
Yeah, and we'll probably go into another struggle at some point. That's just the way the game is, and it happens team-wide, and then it happens individually as well. And I think that most players have 3 or 4 times when they go through a season, as they're going through a season individually, where they struggle. And at any given time, you're probably going to have 2, 3, 4 guys in a lineup that are struggling at the same time, and then it changes back and forth. It's a fascinating game that way, and the people that can handle it mentally and emotionally are the guys that are going to succeed, because it is so difficult. And I always tell my wife, and I always tell my kids, and I always tell my friends, the moment that I forget about how hard this game is that's when I got to go home.
Rob, you guys have such an interesting owner in John Middleton. I mean, I've been at playoff games where he's picking up balls after BPs, giving them to fans. Like, lots of guys will say we want to win. He proves it. He backs it. He acts like a fan, but he also spends like a fan as well. He's not afraid to say winning is important. This is our window. Like, I can leave another legacy to my grandkids than just money, right? Like, I want the Phillies to win. I want to have that championship. How much does having an owner like that kind of permeate down to your level and kind of maybe impact the culture of what's going on in Philadelphia?
Well, John's great, because I usually don't see him very much during the season, and he usually doesn't come down to the clubhouse. But his passion for winning is off the charts. He's as passionate about winning as any player or myself or anybody in the front office is. And he is willing to spend his money, and he's willing to to provide us with anything that we need to win. So there are no excuses here. He gives us everything, and I love it. And I was 28 years with the Yankees with George Steinbrenner, and very similar, except Mr. Steinbrenner got a little bit more involved on a day-to-day basis. But But John's great. I love him. This organization is really family oriented, but at the end of the day, it's about winning a world championship, and he does a great job at balancing all that out.
We had Dave Roberts on, manager for the Dodgers, about this time last year. And we talked to him and we talked to Max Muncy once a month on this show. Are you guys able to talk, or do you talk about being a playoff team and not just a regular season team, in the sense that how are you going to make the adjustments that you weren't able to make in game 6 and 7 against the Diamondbacks, in the games where you were playing in the shadows against the Mets and the Mets were running a hot streak? Do you guys talk about that and say, hey, this is how we're preparing?
Well, I think the one thing that we talked about during the off season and in spring training is controlling the strike zone. That is the one big message. And that's not really just set up for the playoffs. That's set up for on a daily basis to hopefully get us there. And that works on both sides of the ball, from on the mound and at the plate. So that's the one big message that we've talked about, and I think our guys have done a really good job at it. During the season, my biggest focus is today in this series that we're going to play, because we got to get there. And so, we play 52 series every year, and I tell the players and staff every year, if we win 30, we're going to get in. So that's our goal. We got to win 30 series. And once we get to the playoffs, if we get there, then we'll start talking about that. But right now, we got a game tonight against a really hot Milwaukee Brewers club, and we got to take care of business.
If you're a card collector or you'd like to get into card collecting, may I suggest Arena Club and slab packs, which means that you can rip the packs digitally and, of course, get the card that you want. It's also the most trusted name in the game, and I would rather rip packs these days on my phone than sit next to you and have you grabbing one of my physical packs if I was grabbing one.
Yeah, you don't need me grabbing your packs, because last time you grabbed one, it ended up like this card. So let's not have that, and that's why Arena Club is great. They send them to you in these fancy protectors like this Scout Brown card that we have here, and they'll come safe. They're already graded. Or you could do like I do and just leave my cards in the showroom and never actually see them physically.
Yeah.
But they're safe, protected, and if I want to sell them, I can.
Buy, sell, trade. They offer full transparency, showing every card in the slab pack with the likelihood of pulling each one, so you know exactly what's available before you buy. Get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL.
You guys talked about the strike zone and understanding and like controlling the strike zone. How soon was it that you noticed that the ump zone got a little bit tighter, the buffer zone? Supposedly Major League Baseball told everybody, but not everybody knew at the same time.
We knew, because we knew that, we had the ABS system in spring training, and luckily in Florida, like almost every game we played was under the ABS system. So, and I think it got people locked into not just the players, but the umpires as well, locked into the strike zone, and gave them a pretty good reference as to what's a strike and what's a ball. And so I think, in particular for us, I think it helped us quite a bit, because that's what one of our goals was. So, I really think that was part of it. I think part of it is our hitting coaches and how they stressed it in spring training and throughout their drill work and post-mortems after games and things like that. And I think our guys doing a pretty good job at it.
Rob, we had Ruben Amaro Jr. on the show fairly recently. He was talking about how Bryce Harper, comes back so quickly, how he's just a guy who doesn't bruise or swell as much. And when I covered the Orioles, Buck Showalter used to always say, well, this guy's a fast healer. Is there credence to that? Are there guys who are faster healers than other guys? I know Bryce works hard. I know that factors in it as well. And do you really feel nervous, or do you have like the sense of maybe throwing an elbow guard at him so he can put it on when he's on the when he's up there at the plate now, or what? How nervous does that make you?
Yeah, I think everybody heals at a different pace. It's just probably in your DNA. I'm not a doctor, but and every time Harp has had some type of injury, he seems to come back fairly quick. So, and we haven't seen him today, so I don't have an update today. But yeah, I'd like him to wear an elbow guard. You can't force a guy to do it, because I think one of the reasons why he didn't wear it is he felt just, maybe a little bit restricted by it. So, we'll see where we go once he gets back swinging the bat.
I want to ask a little bit about José Alvarado. How have you guys been without him on the mound a little bit? You don't have to dive deep into the situation, but that trust factor too as well has got to play a part in it too, I would assume.
Yeah, and I said from the get-go, it's a loss, no doubt, because at the time that we lost him, he was, one of the best relievers in baseball. But I think we have the arms here and the stuff here and the makeup here, to pick up the pace and pick up the pieces, and guys will step up and get it done. And so far, so good, knock on wood. But yeah, José's a loss. But, I tell the guys all the time, you can only control what you can control, and worry about only about what you can control. And you got to keep moving forward in this game. I love José. He's a great person, great pitcher, but we don't have him right now. So we gotta keep moving forward.
You talked about getting the team through today, but part of a manager's job is to making sure you're fine for tomorrow too. How often or how much do you fight back against that? I don't have one here, but the bullpen card that you have. Like, I get it. Hey, you know what? This guy's not throwing 3 days in a row. It's what it is. This guy can't. How often do you have to fight against it? But do you fight against it more than the pitchers fight against it?
Well, I make out my own bullpen card, so
I don't fight special.
I don't fight against I've been doing it for a long time, and my number one goal is, obviously it's to win, but we got to keep people healthy, and we got to give them the proper rest, and at the same time, get them into games enough to keep them sharp. So there's a balance you got to strike there, and it's on my mind every day. And I think the pitcher, I give the pitchers more days off than they want. Let's put it that way.
So they want to throw and you don't let them play. I get it. You take the ball away from them and they don't get to play. But you're not equal to – that's the bullpen guys. Yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, Wheeler said, hey, is it too late? Is it too late? Head coach Rob, if I throw game 2 instead of game 1, and you told him, you know what? You do whatever you want. You're Zack Wheeler. I don't think you ever go to Orion Kirkering and say, Orion, you're Orion Kirkering.
I didn't tell him that. I told the media that.
Oh, you didn't tell Zack that?
I said, well, I had called Zack, and I said, which game would you like? And he said, the day game. And I said, fine. And so I called our media people, and like 2 minutes later, he called back. He said, is it too late to change it to the night game? And I said, no, it's not too late. I'll just give him a call back.
So there's nothing to it. There was nothing where, you know what, he saw Sale and he's like, I want to go up against the reigning Cy Young so everyone knows that I'm going to win the Cy Young this year.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason was, but because I didn't ask him, but I just know that he called back almost immediately and asked to change it to the night game. So there's no problem.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Rob. I look forward to, when the Phillies are in the D.C. Baltimore area, hearing all the off-the-record stories about Kratzy and Todd here from you. So yeah. Book a little time for me.
I'll tell you in person. I'm not telling her over this thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob. We appreciate it.
Take care.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.